Folks, the scales of justice are supposed to be level. And the lady holding the scales of justice, she's supposed to be blind. But in the state of Florida, apparently this image is more apropos. Justice is supposed to be for all, and more than likely it is, except for black people. And I believe that this image for the justice system in the state of Florida is apropos. I say all of this because a person was, in my opinion, murdered in the state of Florida by the correction officers. I came across the story of Mr. Darren Rainey, a mentally troubled man who was locked into a scalding shower and left there for 2 hours. He screamed until he couldn't scream anymore, but was ignored. Now, Miami-Dade State Attorney Katherine Fernandez Rundle found no evidence of a crime. Since Mr. Rainey was under control of law enforcement, of the correction facility officers, his ignored screams for help were really not evidence of a crime. There were inmates all over that prison block that stated, for the record, that they heard this man screaming for a long period of time and then his screams stopped. Just what did Mr. Rainey have to do to stop his own murder? On the video that was reviewed, did the officers actually have to face the cameras and yell, "We're killing this man on purpose," in order for that to be considered evidence that they actually wanted to cause great bodily harm to this man? This particular crime was so heinous that the skin actually came off of his body and was floating in 3 inches of water. Now, the state claims that there was no proof that the shower was too hot. But when a superintendent came in and tested the water, her initial test was that the temperature was 160 degrees. She went back in later on and tested the water again, and the water tested at 125 degrees. Just so that you know, the law requires that the temperature of that shower should not have exceeded 120 degrees, yet that was no evidence. And just so that you know that the bullshit was in, 3 days later, she sent a memo out to that facility not to use that particular shower. Now, here's another tiny tidbit for your dissemination. One of the correction officers apparently had a crisis of conscience and blew the whistle on this whole thing, but he was ignored. And he subsequently was charged and found guilty of a felony. So when it came time for his testimony, the state basically completely discredited him. I don't know about you folks, but it's situations like this that scream out for something to be done. Now, I don't know if they can get rid of this Katherine Fernandez Rundle just like they got rid of Angela Corey, but there needs to be some type of action taken against this woman, because I don't give a damn what anybody says. They knew that this man had mental issues. They knew that that shower was too hot. They ignored this man's screams for help. They knew that he should have been monitored at all times because of his mental issues. Yet, They placed this man in a shower that wasn't even in his own unit. They took him to a shower that was in a completely different unit. In my mind, they knew exactly what they were doing and what the potential outcome could be. Yet, all of that was ignored. The family obviously is going to sue. They have an attorney already, and there's going to be, in my opinion, some type of a settlement. But that still doesn't bring this man back from the dead. He's gone. And the state of Florida is basically just going to throw money at this problem in order to try to sweep it under the covers. But this is just one case where blind justice should have done its job. The scale should have been balanced, and the officers that were involved in this man's murder should have been charged, and in my opinion, based on the information that is available to the public, easily convicted. But then again, that's just my opinion. Justice for all, that's a fantasy when it comes to black people receiving justice in this country.